Dear listeners, welcome to our podcast. My name is Linda, and I'm here with my co-host, Leo.
Hi, everyone. We're excited to talk with you today about something really important: how small steps can make a big impact on your life. Yes, you heard that right. You don't need to make huge changes to see big results.
Exactly, Leo. Sometimes people think they need to change everything at once to make their lives better. But the truth is, even the smallest steps can change your world today. And we're here to show you how you can start making those small changes, starting right now.
That's right, Linda. In today's podcast, we'll talk about the idea of taking small steps and why they can make such a big difference. And don't worry, we'll make sure to keep it simple and easy for you to understand, especially if you're learning English.
So let's begin by thinking about why small steps are so powerful. Leo, when you think about changing your life, do you think it has to be difficult?
Not at all. Actually, it's often easier to make big changes by starting with small actions. Think about it like this: if you want to get healthier, you don't need to run a marathon tomorrow. You could start with something simple, like drinking one extra glass of water each day. That's a small step, but it can have a big impact on how you feel.
Yes, and the best part is, small steps are not scary. They're easy to do. When you take small steps, you don't feel overwhelmed. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't jump to the top, you take one step at a time. Before you know it, you've reached the top.
Exactly, Linda, and that's what makes small steps so powerful. They build up over time. If you do something small every day, even something as simple as smiling more, it can really change your mood and the way people see you. It's like creating a chain of positive actions.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some small steps that our listeners can take right now to make a big impact in their lives. For example, Leo, one small step people can take is waking up just 10 minutes earlier in the morning.
That's a great one, Linda. If you wake up 10 minutes earlier, you have more time to start your day calmly. You could use those 10 minutes to do something good for yourself, like stretching or reading a positive quote to inspire you. Those extra minutes can make your whole day better.
And you don't have to stop there. Maybe you could use those 10 minutes to plan your day. When you have a plan, you feel more in control and less stressed. That small step of waking up earlier could really change how you handle your entire day.
Another small step is cleaning up just one area of your home or your desk. You don't need to clean the whole house at once. But tidying up one small space can give you a feeling of accomplishment. When you feel more organized, you think more clearly and can focus on other important things.
Yes, and when you see that small, clean space, it makes you feel like you can do more. That's the magic of small steps. They give you confidence. You start to believe, hey, I can do this.
And you can take small steps to help others, too. For example, smiling at someone or saying thank you can make their day better. It's such a small thing, but it can really brighten someone's mood.
I love that, Leo. Sometimes we don't realize that these tiny actions can have a ripple effect. You smile at someone, they feel happy, and maybe they smile at someone else. Before you know it, you've made a lot of people's days brighter, all because of one small step.
That's so true, Linda, and this is something everyone can do, no matter where they are or what language they speak. It's a simple way to change the world around you, starting with just one small action.
Speaking of changing the world, let's think about some bigger changes that small steps can lead to. For example, maybe you want to learn something new, like a language. You don't have to study for hours every day. You could start by learning one new word each day.
Yes, and after 1 week, you'll know 7 new words. After 1 month, you'll know 30. It adds up quickly. And once you see your progress, you'll feel motivated to keep going. This is how small steps create big change. They build momentum.
That's the key: momentum. It's like a snowball. At first, it's small, but as it rolls down the hill, it grows bigger and bigger. Your small steps are the same. They may seem tiny at first, but over time, they'll lead to big results.
So, for everyone listening, think about one small step you can take today. Maybe it's drinking more water, waking up earlier, or even just smiling more. Whatever it is, start with something simple. Remember, every small step counts.
That's right, and we'll talk more about how to stay motivated and keep going, even when it feels hard. Also, we'll discuss how to stay motivated and keep moving forward, even when things get tough.
Hey, I think we all agree that taking small steps is a great way to make changes, but the question is, how do we stay motivated? It's easy to feel excited in the beginning, but what happens when we lose that excitement?
That's a really good question. Leo, I think a lot of people feel that way. They start off strong, but after a few days, they lose motivation. And that's completely normal. The key is to remember why you started in the first place.
Exactly. When you remind yourself of your why, the reason you want to make a change, it helps you stay focused. For example, if your small step is to eat healthier, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Maybe it's because you want more energy or you want to feel better in your body. Keeping that why in mind can push you forward when you feel like giving up.
That's so true, Leo. Sometimes writing down your reasons helps, too. You could make a list of why you're taking these small steps and put it somewhere you can see every day. That way, when you feel like stopping, you can read your list and remember what's important to you.
I like that idea, and you know what else helps. Celebrating your small wins, it's easy to forget that even small progress is still progress. If you're learning one new word in English every day, for example, celebrate when you learn 10 words. That's an achievement.
Yes, celebrating your small wins keeps you motivated because it shows you that you're moving forward. Maybe you don't see the big changes yet, but those little victories give you proof that you're on the right path. It could be something simple, like treating yourself to a nice meal or even just giving yourself a pat on the back.
Exactly, and Linda, I think it's also important to remember that it's okay to take breaks. Sometimes when we're trying to make changes, we push ourselves too hard. Then we get tired and lose motivation, but taking small breaks can help you recharge.
Definitely, Leo. It's like when you're exercising. If you push too hard without resting, you could hurt yourself. But if you take short breaks, you can keep going for longer. The same goes for any small steps you're taking in your life. Give yourself time to rest when you need it, and don't feel guilty about it.
Right. Progress isn't about being perfect every single day. It's about moving forward, even if some days are harder than others. The important thing is to not give up. Sometimes all you need is a little break, and then you can come back stronger.
That's such good advice, Leo. I think another way to stay motivated is to have someone support you. It could be a friend, a family member, or even a group of people. When you tell others about the small steps you're taking, they can cheer you on and help you stay on track.
Yes, having support makes a big difference. Let's say you want to walk more every day. Maybe you can ask a friend to join you. That way, it becomes something fun and you won't feel like you're doing it all alone. Plus, when you have someone else with you, you're more likely to stay committed because you don't want to let them down.
Exactly. And even if you don't have someone to join you, you can still share your goals with a friend or family member. You could say, I'm trying to take this small step every day. Can you help remind me? Sometimes just talking about your goals makes them feel more real.
Another great idea, Linda. Now, I want to talk about something that happens to everyone: failure. What if you're doing great for a few days and then suddenly you miss a day or two? How do you keep going after that?
Yes, failure, it happens to all of us, right? I think the most important thing to remember is that failure is normal. We all make mistakes. The key is to not let one small failure stop you from continuing. Missing one day doesn't mean you should give up. Just start again the next day.
That's great advice. Don't be too hard on yourself if you miss a step. Instead of thinking, I've failed, try thinking, I've learned something. Maybe you missed a step because you were too busy or too tired. Now you know that, and you can plan better for next time.
Yes, it's all about learning from your experiences. If something doesn't work, ask yourself, why? Then figure out what you can do differently. Maybe you need to make your small step even smaller. If you're trying to study for 30 minutes but it feels too hard, try 10 minutes instead. You can always adjust.
I love that, Linda. It's all about finding what works for you. And speaking of that, let's talk about making these small steps part of your daily routine. Because, after all, it's not just about taking one small step today, it's about taking small steps every day.
Yes, routine is key. If you want your small steps to have a big impact, you need to make them a habit. And habits are created by doing something regularly. But here's the trick. Don't try to change everything all at once. Focus on one small step at a time, and once it becomes a habit, you can add another.
That's a good point. If you try to do too many things at once, it can get overwhelming. But if you focus on one small step until it feels easy, then you can slowly build up. It's like stacking blocks. You start with one, and then you add more over time.
Exactly. And when you make something a habit, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It becomes part of your life, and you don't even have to think about it. That's when real change happens, when those small steps become second nature.
So true, Linda, and we've talked about staying motivated, celebrating small wins, learning from failure, and creating habits. These are all important tools to help you keep moving forward with your small steps.
Absolutely, and we will share some real-life examples of people who took small steps and made big changes in their lives. These stories will inspire you to keep going on your own journey. And we'll be sharing some real-life stories of people who took small steps and saw big changes in their lives.
Okay, and now we want to show you how this idea works in the real world. These stories are from people like you and me, people who started small but ended up making big changes in their lives.
That's right. And the amazing thing is, these stories prove that you don't need to make huge, dramatic changes overnight. Small, consistent actions can lead to life-changing results. So, Leo, why don't you start us off with the first story?
Sure, Linda. Our first story is about Sarah. Sarah is a mother of two, and she works a full-time job. For years, she wanted to get healthier, but she always felt too busy. She thought she needed to go to the gym every day or follow a strict diet, but it was too much, so she kept putting it off.
I think a lot of people can relate to that, Leo. When life gets busy, it's easy to feel like there's no time for big changes.
Exactly, Linda, but one day, Sarah decided to try something different. Instead of trying to change everything at once, she made one small decision. She started walking for just 10 minutes a day. That's it, just 10 minutes. It seemed like such a small step, but it was something she could manage, even with her busy schedule.
That's such a great example. 10 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it's doable. And it's a start.
Exactly, and here's what happened. After a few weeks, Sarah started to feel better. She had more energy, and she found that she actually enjoyed those 10 minutes of walking, so she slowly increased her time. First 15 minutes, then 20. A few months later, she was walking for 30 minutes every day, and she felt great. She even lost weight and felt healthier, all because she started with that one small step of walking for 10 minutes.
That's amazing. It's incredible how something so simple can lead to such big results. And the best part is, it wasn't difficult for her to start. She didn't need a lot of time or special equipment, just a little commitment every day.
Exactly, Sarah's story shows that you don't need to make huge changes all at once. Sometimes, the smallest step like walking for 10 minutes can lead to something much bigger.
That's a great story, Leo. Now, let me share another one with you. This story is about a man named Carlos. Carlos was always interested in learning new things, but he never had time to study because of his job. He wanted to learn English, but he felt like he needed to spend hours every day studying. That felt impossible for him.
I can see how that would feel overwhelming. Learning a language seems like such a big task, especially when you're busy.
Exactly. But one day, Carlos realized he didn't have to learn everything at once. He decided to take a small step. He downloaded a language learning app on his phone and made a goal to learn just one new English word every day. One word, that's all. It seemed like a small step, but it was something he could fit into his day.
That's really smart, Linda. One word a day doesn't take much time, but it still helps you learn.
Exactly. And after a few weeks, Carlos had learned 30 new words. It didn't feel like a lot at first, but it added up. After a few months, he realized he knew over 100 new words in English. That gave him the confidence to start speaking and practicing more. Soon, he was having simple conversations in English, something he never thought he could do.
That's so inspiring. It shows that even with just a few minutes each day, you can make real progress. Carlos didn't need hours to learn English, just a little time and consistency.
Yes, and it's the same for any goal. Whether it's learning a new language, getting healthier, or improving your skills, small steps can lead to big results. It's all about being consistent and not giving up.
Absolutely, Linda. Now, let's share one more story before we wrap up. This one is about Anna, who wanted to make a difference in her community. She always felt like she wanted to help others, but she didn't know where to start. She thought that making a big impact meant doing something huge, like starting a charity or organizing large events.
I think a lot of people feel that way, Leo. It can seem like making a difference requires doing something really big.
Exactly, but Anna decided to start small. She began by volunteering just 1 hour a week at a local food bank. It didn't seem like much, just an hour, but it made a big difference for the people who came to the food bank. She got to meet new people, and she felt good knowing she was helping, even in a small way.
That's wonderful, and I'm sure that hour of her time meant a lot to the people she helped. It's amazing how even a little time can make a big impact.
Yes, and here's the best part. After a few months, Anna started to feel more connected to her community. She met other people who also wanted to help, and together they started organizing small events like food drives and neighborhood cleanups. What started as just 1 hour a week turned into something much bigger, all because Anna took that first small step.
That's so inspiring, Leo. It shows that making a difference doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to do something big right away. Sometimes, it's the little things that create the biggest changes.
Exactly, and I think that's the main lesson from all these stories. Whether you're trying to improve yourself, help others, or learn something new, it all starts with one small step. And those small steps, when done consistently, lead to big changes over time.
That's right, Leo. So, for everyone listening today, we hope these stories have inspired you to take your own small steps. Remember, you don't need to do everything at once. Start with something simple and build from there. Every small step counts, and before you know it, you'll see big results.
Well said, Linda, and that brings us to the end of our podcast. Thank you all for listening. We hope you feel inspired to make some small changes in your own life and see just how powerful they can be.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Bye for now.
Goodbye.